Take me out to left field. Give me a shot of Fireball. Give me some high fives from Marc Pena and a hug from Jeff Cross as we stand on top of the tables. Hearing the horns, that's a blast. For it's 1, 2, 3 shots from the cannon with the ladies of left field.
Hey y'all, it is game time with the ladies of left field. Jordan here with Kasey and Katie as usual.
Hey y'all.
Hey y'all.
And today we have a special guest, the one and only Marc Pena, aka Occupy Left Field on Twitter. I know you all know who he is.
Awesome. Really happy to be here. Yeah, thanks for having me on this week. Definitely looking forward to it.
Of course, Marc is here to give us all the insight on, we're officially in our first week of Texas baseball offseason, so I know we're all itching for any sort of info already. But to kick it off with the Hot Girl headlines, I'll start it off with the NFL because minicamp started Tuesday. And a reminder for everybody, because I frankly forgot this until I started seeing headlines, the Cowboys have a new head coach this year, Brian Schottenheimer, who was the offensive coordinator for the past 2 seasons. So, I don't know how I feel about that yet. We'll see. But everybody on this call is a Cowboys fan. So how is everybody else feeling about it?
I mean, I kind of forgot too. And I'm just going to go with, let's think positively. I mean, I didn't feel good about the offense in the past, but, I hear that the players maybe like him. So I'm going to say that's a positive.
Two seasons ago, the offense was really good until the Green Bay playoff game.
That's
so
true.
Let's revert back to that season, maybe.
When Dak got hurt last year, right? So that's always
fair.
Yeah.
Jordan, I've heard good things about him. I've heard the players really like him and like what he's been doing, since he was hired earlier in the year. So I'm going to be hopeful. I don't think things can get any worse than they were last year. So
that's a fair point.
Yeah, and see what happens. But I'm hopeful. I think it'll be a fun season if Jack can stay healthy. Like Pickens is a new receiver, so hopefully we'll be better than we were.
All right. I like the positive vibes because y'all know I am not the positive vibes person. So this is good for me to hear this from you guys. Katie, what's your hot girl headline?
All right, y'all. Most of you guys saw it on ESPN probably, but that amazing catch by Denzel Clark, he legit scaled the wall for a crazy home run robbery. He plays for the A's and the Athletics. And it was wild. He literally completely scaled the wall, jumped, hung over the wall. He almost flipped over the wall. What'd you say, Case?
I thought it was going to fall over. When I showed the replay, and it's like, oh my God, how did he not flip over that wall?
Yeah. People are saying it's the catch of the year, very likely. And the A's were super hyped. But the funny kind of thing is at the end, the Angels still won. So great catch, but didn't win the game. I've been talking lots about NBA just because I'm kind of a fake Thunder fan right now. And so we talked about Pacers won the first game and that last second shot. Thunder came through and just completely dominated the Pacers in game 2. So go Thunder. Game Wednesday coming up, which is for us, today's Tuesday. So it'll be tomorrow. Game 4 on Friday and then game 5 on Monday. So there we go. So we'll watch the NBA playoffs. I don't know. I've been talking to some random people and they're into it. I was talking to a random job coach lady today on my end of the year call, and she was saying how she's really into the NBA playoffs. So I was kind of surprised. So there you go. If you're into it, cheers. Cheer for the Thunder or whatever you're into, and there we go. So
it's got to be kind of fun too we know the Thunder's been traditionally pretty good, but not this good. So it's got to be fun for casual fans who are like, oh, I don't know who the Pacers are. This is great.
Yeah.
Like how I feel about the NFL playoffs or something. I don't want to see the same people all the time.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the 2 or 3 days off between games. That doesn't make sense to me. It seems to kind of kill the momentum of watching the series. There's way too much time.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally. I last week, game 1 was when? Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Wednesday, whatever first night it was, and I'm checking it because I guess I'm used to a hockey schedule or even a baseball schedule too, where you're just you jam it all in. So I was like, wait, how many days are we waiting?
Right.
Yeah, because the way they go back and forth between the places is kind of weird, right? Because it's what is it?
If they were in OKC the first night, the first game and the second game. And it was like,
Is it 2-3-2?
Oh, that's it. No, it's 2-2.
Oh, 1-1-1.
yeah,
That seems inefficient.
But that seemed inefficient, and that's what I think might be the travel sketch. So anyways, we'll see. So there you go. NBA, watch it, end of it, see what happens. Games have been a little bit entertaining. We'll see if the Pacers can make another game out of it. I don't know.
How about
Right,
SGA?
what you got?
Yeah. Well, golf as usual. This is the U.S. Open week's the third major, and it's at Oakmont, which is supposed to be like one of the hardest courses out there for the golfers. Like, it's actually one where we should not expect, negative or minus 22 as being the winning score, which will definitely be better. But reasonable scores and stuff. And in notable pairings, we've got Scotty with Colin Morikawa and Victor Hovland. And then this is a tournament with so many people that outset that they go off on the first tee and the 10th tee so that they can get them all going the first 2 days before they cut. Jordan's with Dustin Johnson and John Rahm. So I guess those are kind of past winners, but I also feel like it's kind of like DJ hasn't been relevant and since he went to live. So
I was just about to say, I don't remember the last time I remember seeing DJ like on a PGA Tour broadcast. Now that you say that, that is
Right.
wild.
it's kind of like, I don't even know if he even tries to play anymore. But Rory's paired with Justin Rose and Shane Lowry. So Rory and Shane Lowry are the big buddies and kind of party goers when they're doing good. So that could be a fun threesome to watch the first couple of days. So that's this weekend. That's in the golf world. There's another major. So, and it's also probably Phil Mickelson's last time to play a U.S. Open. So I think he's even said this could be the last time he actually, plays one. And so I don't know if he has any shot at all. This is the major he's trying to win that he hasn't won. So there is.
I was watching Live the other day. It was on. Strangely enough, it was on in the nail salon. Phil Mickelson is unrecognizable. Like full on dad bod, gray beard. I was like, who is that? I think that's Phil.
Oh, he's back to dad bod?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
At least, or maybe it was an unflattering shirt or something. But
okay.
It took me a minute. Like they had to really get close in his face, and I was like, oh, well, that's Phil. All right.
Okay.
So that'll be fun to see.
Yeah. Maybe he makes it, a little run at it. That'd be highly entertaining. And I also want to say, I don't feel like, I feel like when DJ married Wayne Gretzky's daughter,
Paulina.
he just like focused on that, which I understand. Lots to focus on there.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Jeez.
Awesome. All right. Mark, you want to tell us about the College World Series? What's coming up? What are you expecting? What are some headlines you got to share?
Oh, I think before we get into the full College World Series, I'm just excited to see that Murray State qualify. It's really cool. Just such a fun story. I was doing a little bit of research on them earlier today. Like their school is like barely has an enrollment of like 10,000 people. Their stadium holds 800 fans.
Wow.
I was seeing on Twitter today and on one of the nationwide radio shows that their head coach literally helps by mowing the field. Like at the stadium, he does like some of the groundskeeping. So just really cool to see that Cinderella is still kind of alive in college baseball. I think as we get further into NIL and all that craziness, there'll probably be less and less of this moving forward. So it's going to be fun to see them paired on the same side of the bracket with LSU and Arkansas. So that'll be pretty wild to watch. But Katie, overall, College World Series starts on Friday. Not the field that I think anybody expected. There were so many upsets across the country. So there's a lot of teams that I don't think folks were expecting to be there, especially if you look at the A side of the bracket with teams like Louisville, Arizona. Oregon State was a pretty decent team, but just like a lot of teams that came up out of nowhere, upset, big favorites. So it should be a wide open College World Series. LSU and Arkansas to play each other first. So you drop one of them into the losers bracket right from the start, and there could be some fun games and scenarios going on in Omaha. So it should be a fun week up there starting on Friday.
I love
Yeah, I mean, especially when, I mean, I think all of us were kind of like, yeah, UNC, and then UNC lost, and so we were like, all right, now what? You know, so a big favorite that got knocked out in the supers.
Hey, I did see also on the NCAA tweeted today, apparently this is the first time that all 8 College World Series teams, of all 8, none of them were in it the previous year.
Yeah.
So we have an entirely new slate of teams, which I thought it's cool. Like we were talking about with the NBA earlier, like, if my team's not going to make it, then at least I want to see a whole bunch of new people. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I was watching last night, watching that Murray State Duke game, and I was for Murray State, but I also was in my, sitting there thinking, like, had Duke won, that still would have been somewhat of a Cinderella story in that they hadn't been in the College World Series since like 1961. That they'd been like 3 times, but it's been like in the 50s. So I thought that, but I was going to, when Mark was talking about the NIL thing, I also heard, I guess, I don't remember his name, but the kid that I think he hit the home run that might have, either the shot that was the go-ahead or the tying home run for Murray State, but that he came from Cal State Fullerton. That they randomly, they were saying, he had been at Cal State Fullerton, and then last year he was just looking for something, and they kind of called it, he found a safe place to land kind of thing. So I don't know if like it was, what the issues were or what the situation was, but I mean, that's across the country, that's, and so I thought it was pretty cool that, you have a guy that's, I don't know where Cal State is right now in the baseball world of, how their program is, but, we know from their past that they were a storied program in the past.
And I don't really know anything about Skirka, their head coach, except that obviously when I was watching the game on Monday night and like him just picking up his son and carrying him around, and then like when they're trying to do a post-game interview and he's like, I'm sorry guys, I gotta go celebrate, and he throws on the headset and just like throws up his arm. It was so good. I would root for them just for him too.
Yep. He was so calm and collected too. Like, those last innings of the game, he just stood there straight-faced, and the fact that they had to celebrate twice. I know. That was wild.
Those damn obstruction calls we can't get away from.
I know. I was like, if I hear the word obstruction again.
I know. Yeah. So who is your College World Series pick then, Mark?
What was I going to say?
Man, it's a little bit too easy to pick LSU or Arkansas. I think obviously those are the 2 best teams, and you'll likely see one of them raise the trophy at the end. I'm going to be pulling for Coastal on the front side of the bracket, and obviously Murray State on the other side. I'm not sure Murray State will be around for a while, but too long. But it'd be fun to see them get a win or two. But I think Coastal's my upset pick, but everybody's going to pick LSU or Arkansas. I think whoever wins that game is in the driver's seat, and both of those teams are really damn good. So they're going to be tough to beat, especially in a 2 out of 3 game championship series. Ton of pitching and great offenses for both of those clubs.
And you know what else I forget is Louisville beat Texas. Very first game. I completely forget about that. I'm like, how's Louisville there? Oh, wait. Like, obviously, with as good as Texas was this season, they must not be total garbage.
They've been
my team I won't root for
most of the season.
Dang. I guess I never noticed that because Texas was too high up there. I didn't scroll all the way down to see the other teams.
Just so people realize, on one side of the bracket, game 1 is Coastal Carolina against Arizona. And then we have Oregon State against Louisville. And then the other bracket, UCLA, Murray State, and then Arkansas and LSU. So, I don't know. Jordan, you got a pick?
I don't want to say that I'm copying Mark, but I think I will be pulling for, obviously, Murray State. I'll also be pulling for Coastal. But I think maybe my pick would be Louisville. Now that we're talking, if it's not Coastal, then I'll pull for Louisville. I hate hate LSU and Arkansas. But you'd like to see someone that hasn't won it in a while also. So, I'm taking 3 technically: Coastal, Murray State, and then Louisville. If neither of my other 2 make it, kind of as we said, anyone but Arkansas, pretty much. I even like LSU. Like, I like LSU fans; they're fun. Every time I would have to go up there for work, even when Texas wasn't playing, they were awesome. Even though, like, I would full disclosure, like, I went to Texas, I'm a Texas fan, and they're like, it's fine, come, eat the jambalaya. We got crawfish tomorrow. Come back out. Like, LSU fans are just awesome. So, when they're not being a-holes to us specifically. And I know that we have all had to experience that as well. So,
Denny, just kidding.
Yeah, we have our own Longhorn who is a tried and true LSU guy.
Kasey, who do you have?
Well, yeah, along the same lines of all these. Although I think that I don't know, Oregon State, I feel like could pop in there randomly. I mean, because they've got some history of, they've won a few times, so they're not scared or whatever. So, but yeah, I kind of go with that same old thing of whoever wins that Arkansas LSU game will probably, get in. But you never know. Like when it comes back down to the championship series, what. Because that starts over. So,
yeah.
And it just depends on how many times, if they've gotten through undefeated or if they had to go all the way and, play all the games to get to that championship series. But it is, I do feel like it's definitely a different set of 8 teams this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird because you have like the 2 teams that bring the most fans and then the other 6. Yeah. I don't think are going to bring anybody.
Yeah.
Though it might be a little bit lame on some days, but having LSU and Arkansas on that first Saturday at night is going to be a complete shit show. It's going to be madness Saturday night there in Omaha. I wish I could be there for that. We'll have to get Denny to send us some pictures of him with the shirt off on Saturday evening.
We don't even need to ask over under on how long. Denny's just going to show up with the shirt off.
He might not even wear his shirt. Yeah. Not any long.
Derek definitely will not lead him. I mean, Derek will be egging him on all the way. So there will be no lack of partying going on with those 2.
Yeah. He'll be helicopter in that shirt as he walks.
Yes.
That's Sadie, no doubt. I know it's going to be interesting to watch how the attendance, drops and increases throughout the College World Series. Like super high for LSU, Arkansas, and then one of those teams is out, and then how some of these other games are just going to, if anybody comes. UCLA folks don't really travel. It's a kind of a historic baseball program, but I don't know. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We've talked about the NIL stuff before too. That this is kind of probably the last time that we'll see some Cinderellas, just as I think the elite teams and the teams with money are going to get more and more elite. So it is kind of cool to see some of these small schools in here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
That's a good point. It is nice that we have full on like a good amount, at least 2 kind of fun Cinderellas in what you're talking about, probably the last year. But I was just thinking while we were talking, tangential to the whole attendance thing. So a cool thing kind of recent in Omaha, there is a pizza place across the street from TD, was it Charles Schwab now? So I keep calling it TD Ameritrade. But they do a Jello shot challenge.
Yep.
And obviously, normally the SEC schools run away with it. So my question to you guys, not LSU, not Arkansas, because obviously we know LSU will win it as long as they stay. Who wins the Jello shot challenge? And the challenge is, however, your fans, essentially you get a point for each Jello shot you buy. And they tabulate it every 3 hours for the entirety of the College World Series. And then you get like a plaque in Rocco's. So no LSU, no Arkansas. Who wins out of the other 6 teams?
I think Oregon State may have a chance. One of my coworkers said that, and they're during their regional, maybe their super regional, that he saw some posts about them. They were building beer can dams about teams. So, there were at least some of them that were partying and, partaking. So, that'll be my,
yeah. I was going to go Arizona. I feel like Arizona's known for being a party school. I mean,
that's what I was going to say too.
State, but I think Arizona's known for just in general, kind of a party school, party state. So I was going to go with that. I don't know, Jordan, Mark.
I'm going to say Murray State. I think I saw that like them fans who just go in there can pick the school that they're with, and I think you might get some random folks. Picking Murray State. I saw this morning that the first 100 shots on the board got called in by somebody who dedicated them to Murray State. So Murray State's already got 100 before
I love that
this series even starts. So we'll see how that works out.
Oh heck yeah! All right, go Racers. Well, I guess we can spin it now. We'll hit a little bit around the horns before we put Mark on the hot seat for all things Texas baseball. So Kasey or Kate, do you want to take some of this Volantis news?
We're super proud. Dylan Volantis is a freshman All-American pitcher. That kid really showed up, number 99. You gotta love that. all his vibes, all his swagger. And yeah, so that's super exciting. Kasey, you want to share about Rylan?
Yeah, and Rylan Galvan, our catcher for the Longhorns, is one of 3 finalists for the Buster Posey National Catcher of the Year award. So that's pretty cool. I don't know that we've ever had anybody up for that award. And when I was making me think that, he's a finalist and hopefully he wins. But then if that's the case, and then we had Reese Atwood win the Softball Catcher of the Year award. So we definitely had some good battery going on in our both of our baseball and softball. So
it's awesome.
Okay, Mark, it is time to delve in. You're on the hot seat now. But first off, we'll start with kind of a fun one. What was your favorite memory from this season? We kind of all went over ours last episode.
Yeah, if it's a singular memory, I would say it'd be the last regular season series of the year. The game 1 opener against Oklahoma, where Max Ballou hit that huge home run late in the game to put Texas ahead and to eventually win the SEC regular season title for us. That was just such a big moment for the fans, for Max, for all of us. We're just such a big fan of his. And for him now to sit out for 2.5 months and not be able to play and then come back and do something ridiculous like that in his first game was so amazing. And just to see the excitement from him, his mom and dad in the stands was pretty hilarious. So I'd say that'd be the singular moment is Max back in the SEC Texas.
I think that's, babe, when I got a text from Diane Ballou that said, "I just straddled your husband. I hope that's okay." She goes,
Yep.
She goes, "I'm pretty sure he's going to need to go to the doctor because I think I messed up his back."
As soon as Max hits a home run, I was standing right between them. So I turned to my left and punched Jeremy in the chest. He went crazy. And then I turned towards Diane and she just jumped on me, wrapped her legs around my waist and just didn't let go for a minute and a half. We were just all jumping up and down and going crazy. It was a pretty cool moment. There was a ton of Texas fans up there in Norman. And there were not any sober Texas fans. So we were having a good time, and that was a really fun piece of the season for sure.
Awesome. That was cool to watch. Made me happy because we are Diane Ballou's #1 fan here on the Ladies of Left Field podcast. Kind of looking ahead to next year's team, what is the biggest area of need in the transfer portal?
Man, there's quite a few. I'm not going to lie to you. And this offseason is going to be a wild one for Texas. You 3 are all aware of all the crazy things that have happened and all the changes that are out there, with the roster limits and transfer portal and NIL changes. But Jordan, to answer your question, I think the 2 biggest needs, actually 3 biggest off the top, are going to be a dominant weekend starter from a pitching perspective. I think we all understand our season kind of, started going downhill when Jared Spencer got hurt and we lost that Friday night, dominating pitcher. So I think that's going to be a big thing for Texas to look for in the offseason. I think it's also going to be interesting to see what they do with Dylan Valantis, right? He is good enough to be that guy if we're okay with taking him out of the bullpen and moving his role. Turning him into a Friday night starter, which I've heard could be an option. But I think getting a dominating starting pitcher is going to be big. And then I think the 2 biggest holes to fill are going to be Galvan at catcher. If he does end up going pro, I think there's an outside shot that Texas may be able to convince him to come back to school. It's not something that I'm going to get my hopes up about because I do expect him to get drafted pretty highly. But I know that Texas won and a lot of donors and boosters are trying to convince him to come back. And then third, Jordan, I think middle infield, shortstop position. Same type of situation with Jalen Flores. It's likely that he's going to get drafted. There's an opportunity that Texas could keep him. But I don't think they're going to wait and put all of their eggs in one basket. I think they're going to look to sign somebody in the transfer portal as an insurance policy and just kind of see what happens with Jalen in the draft. And if he ends up signing or electing to come back for another season here in Austin.
And follow up to that real quick. I know, Case, you have a question, but what have you heard from where is Jalen supposed to go in the draft? Have we heard anything? Any ideas?
Yeah, and unfortunately, he did not have the year that I think he expected to have, or anybody else expected him to have. I think he ended the season only hitting around 240, 245 from a batting average perspective, which is not very good, right? And he had some struggles at the plate. His strikeout numbers were up. And you got to think at the end of the day that it is going to impact where he goes in the draft. So I think he will be drafted, but not nearly as high as people expected coming into the season. So I do think he, is going to be on the fence there in terms of what to do next. So again, you're kind of hopeful that Texas gets lucky in the draft and some of these guys come back. It hasn't worked that way for us in the last couple of seasons, but it's possible that, Texas could get a chance at retaining both Galvan and Flores. And, all of us know they're very good friends as well. So you kind of wonder how that might look to be like a package deal. And it's like, hey, I'll come back if you come back type of thing. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of drama and news coming out of those two in the next few weeks.
Who's the most important portal eligible player on the Longhorns team that we need to make sure that stays in Austin, that doesn't jump ship? Or do we have anybody that's like, I know we've already had, several go into the portal, but I think we kind of know the circumstances around those guys.
Yeah. I think the one surprising name that folks have been hearing in the last week or so is Will Gasparino. Right. He's been a starter here in Austin for his 2 years with the program. But, you are starting to hear, some rumors that he is potentially weighing at options of maybe looking for other places and looking for a change. I really hope that's not the case. I love the Gasparino family, and he's been a pretty damn good player for us. But I think it is important, right, that we're able to keep guys like him. But Kasey, it's just such a unique landscape now where with the transfer portal, it really is a business, right? And I think coaches and Schlossnagle in particular are very direct with the players when they do their exit interviews after the season. And I think they're very clear of like, hey, player X, you did this last year. You're going to be good enough next season, and you're going to have to put in work. You're going to have to improve, or I can't guarantee that you're going to be a starter on our team, right? And I think there are those scenarios and use cases where Schlossnagle is probably telling guys that are starters, we're looking at potential people at your position to see what we can get in the offseason, right? And so I think those type of conversations weigh heavily with guys that have been starters that know that they're going to have to work really hard to retain that position. So, all of that to say, I think Gasparino is going to be a big name. And there haven't been any real big surprises that have jumped into the portal yet. And I'm hoping that stays the case, right? We've been able to retain a lot of the pitchers that are out there, guys like Thomas Burns, Max Grubbs, people like that. They seem to be staying put, and I'm hearing a lot of good things that it's very likely that they'll be back next season. So you want to keep that core and just hope that all of those guys see Texas as their best opportunity moving forward.
So just real quick, talking about those pitchers, we're not thinking that they're going to be drafted high enough that they're going to be tempted to go.
So I've been talking to a couple guys that are really well read into the draft. I've heard that Texas coaches and people close to the program are hopeful that we're going to be able to get Max Grubbs, Luke Harrison, and Ruger Riojas all back next year. They seem to think that the risk of them getting drafted high enough to leave is low. That's not to say that it wouldn't happen.
Right.
But you want to think that all three of those guys are really committed to Texas and are hungry to come back as well. And those would be huge names to return on the Texas side. If you can get those three guys, combine them with Thomas Burns, you have Dylan Volantis coming back. I mean, that's a hell of a good start from a pitching staff perspective. And going back to the portal, right? Max Wiener's name as a pitching coach was a hot name the entire season. So I expect him to do some damage in the portal. I'd be really shocked if there weren't a lot of very talented pitchers, right. That weren't beating down his door to come to Austin next season. So you hope to see that as the case. Yep.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm just checking. Jared Spencer was a senior, right?
Yeah, he's going to be done. He's out of eligibility, and with his injury, right? I think even if he did have eligibility, he probably wouldn't be ready for the beginning of the season. So I've heard that he will be moving on, likely going to the draft, and I do not believe he has eligibility left here in Texas.
Okay, just curious about that. And I'm all for Will Gasparino if he can hit the damn ball. So
get it together, Big Willie.
Yeah. I love him. He's a great player, but he does have, a couple of holes in his swing, and he had issues with strikeouts both last year and this year. So I think if he does come back, there's going to have to be a lot of work on that swing and a lot of dedication, to kind of improving. He's been feast or famine for us over the last couple of seasons.
I was like, the consistency needs to be more consistent and at a higher level all the time. So, and I feel like our boy Kasey Borba ended the year strong. He's coming back. Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
He is going to be back. And again, ladies, that just goes to the whole craziness of college athletics right now. It's really insane to me to hear that players like Kasey Borba, who was our starting third baseman basically the whole season, right, hit multiple home runs in the regional, and a guy like Luke Harrison, who was our Saturday starter and our most consistent starting pitcher the entire season. Like, I think those players went into their exit interviews nervous about what they were going to hear from the coaches and nervous on if they were going to be welcomed back next season. So it just kind of talks about how cutthroat it is in college sports now. And when you talk about the rosters going from 40 to 34, nobody feels safe, right? Everybody feels like they're on that cut line. And then even the guys that don't have to worry about things like that, guys like Ethan Mendoza, guys like Adrian Rodriguez, right? They're looking over their shoulder to see if Texas is going to sign a second baseman or somebody like that in the portal that they may have to duke it out with going into the offseason. So it's just wild, but yeah, you're going to have a nice nucleus back. Borba will be one of those. It'll be great to see him and the two other guys I just mentioned. A-Rod Mendoza gives us a lot of good combinations to work with in the infield from the Texas side.
Yeah.
And you mentioned there's something we haven't touched on yet, the roster size cut. Can you explain that a little bit for our listeners?
Yeah. So the roster limit has been 40 for the last several seasons. And now going into next year, you are only allowed to carry 34 guys that get any type of scholarship money. My understanding is you can have a handful of guys that are walk-ons if you need people for like bullpen catchers, things of that nature, right? But anybody who's going to be getting money from the university has to be inside of that 34. And that's wild. One of the really crazy things about college baseball is you've heard about programs who do some really shady things, even with the 40-man roster. Texas Tech and Tim Tadlock were notorious for like carrying 40 to 50 guys and then cutting 8 or 9 guys at the last minute and just saying, sorry, we don't have a spot for you anymore, leaving those guys just out to dry, right? It's like December and you're getting cut and you're having to scramble to find a place to play in the spring. So I think you're probably going to see a lot more situations like that. I've heard rumors that like Texas is going to have a heavy number going into fall ball, knowing that by December 1st, they have to get it down to 34. So fall ball is almost going to be like Survivor, right? There's probably going to be 8 or 10 guys fighting for 2 or 3 spots. So it should make some of the small scrimmages really fun and competitive, to be honest with you.
And are they allowing, I mean, this is the part where I've gotten a little confused on, because I know since I worked in baseball, which was almost 30 years ago, up until now, it's always been 11.7 scholarships. You had to take that amount of money and just chop it all up, So when you heard about people getting somebody would tell you'd hear somebody say he's on a full ride. I was like, no, he's not. Not in Texas. That doesn't happen. You've got to divide all that up. But now I've been hearing the number 21. Is that like that? Are they still allowed to chop up the scholarships, or do they have to be full scholarships awarded to a certain amount of people and the other people don't get anything? Or do you know?
Yeah, so I do know that the scholarship limit has gone way up, right? So they could, in theory, put almost everybody on a scholarship.
Right.
But the new data point that came out over the weekend that I don't know how it works with this are those NIL changes, right? Where the universities now have the capability to pay the players.
Right.
So I haven't heard how that works with scholarship money and how they might be able to creatively mix that money around to make sure that everybody is covered. So it's just nuts. And, on top of that, not every program has the money to do that, even though you have the ability to, right? So it's just the Wild West out there. It feels like things are changing by the week or by the month, and there's always something different being introduced. So it's probably going to take everybody through the summer to really understand how that impacts people going into September and beyond.
Yeah.
All right, babe. Well, speaking of the portal, if you could get anybody from the portal, who would it be and why?
That's tough. To be honest with you, I don't even feel like we have the full list of people that are in the portal. You still have eight teams that are playing. Again, you have heard some rumors, right, that there are guys on some of these 8 teams that are looking to move on and are looking for different opportunities. I don't have any specific names in mind. I think it really goes back to the positions. And when you look at shortstop, right, there are probably 8 to 12 guys out there that are high quality that would be a hell of a get for the University of Texas. So not any big names out there. There's not a Paul Skeens that's waiting to be cherry picked like he was a couple years ago when every school was fighting for him. And you really haven't heard of like that huge name All-American or top flight SEC player that's gone into the portal quite yet. It's more of like the mid-major guys that are getting picked up, or it's teams like UVA whose coach left, went to Mississippi State, and then all of their players are starting to follow him to Starkville, to be with Coach O'Connor. So I don't feel like that big fish is out there. You really just look to get somebody that's quality. And again, it's a numbers game, right? You don't want to pay one guy $1 million to come to Texas. It'd be pretty cool if you could convince 4 or 5 guys at $250,000 to come to Texas and build up that depth and get more love out of that money than just one player that may not end up producing or may end up getting hurt. So I'd like to see them attack some more smaller name people with smaller budgets and kind of, work it around that way.
On that note, what do you think is Texas's biggest strength going into this season? Looking at if the roster were to stay as it is right now, what do you think is the biggest strength?
I think it would be the pitching. Going back to what I said earlier, provided that nothing changes there, I mean, that's 5 or 6 fantastic pitchers that you may have at your disposal, right? Volantis, Harrison, Burns, Rugeriojas. If you can get all of those guys back, you are starting so far ahead of where you were at the beginning of this year. And so just having another offseason as well with Max Wiener, those guys are only going to get better. They're only going to improve. So I think it would definitely be the pitching nucleus is kind of the strength of the team. But, looking at the position players, I'm a little bit concerned. We have a lot of holes. You look at the defense, right? You lose Armour. You lose Max Ballou. There's rumors about Gasparino. You don't know what's going to happen with Jonah Williams in football, right? I mean, if that guy goes...
Oh, that's such a good point.
Yeah, if he goes into the fall and he's a badass in the secondary, he might not come back and play baseball, right? And then you have no starters returning from the outfield perspective. And then you look at a position like catcher, like shortstop. I mean, those are the biggest positions on the team. So I am a little bit concerned about that. But I do have trust in Schlossnagle Max Weiner, Nolan Kane, who's our recruiting coordinator. You want to think that they're going to have momentum coming off of an SEC title. Schlossnagel's got skins on the wall. He's at a school like Texas. It started a little bit quieter than I expected over the first week and a half. But you really hope that you start to hear some noise, in the next week or two.
Well, that's leading to that. That's what I was wondering is like, how is like actual just recruiting of like the high school student? Where are we there?
Recruiting is incredible. No, our recruiting class of the guys coming in next season is actually number one in the country.
Okay.
But you know how that works, Kasey.
Well,
you know
right.
What's going to happen in the draft, right?
Exactly.
It may be that the top X amount of them get drafted higher than expected and that none of them make it to campus.
Right.
So you never really count your chickens with high school players until the draft is done and you see who makes it to campus. But it is a big class and it's a very well-rounded class with a lot of talent. So you want to think that the combination of that with the portal and then the guys that remain from last year's team should put us in a pretty damn good position heading into next season. Yeah.
And kind of a note on this too, since we do try to inform everyone here, the rules with the MLB draft, you can go out of high school or you can go, is it once you turn 21 or you have to spend 2 years at JUCO or 3 years at a 4-year kind of college?
So it is a birthday rule, and sometimes based on the age of the player, it shakes out a little differently. But basically, it's either you go in the draft or you have to play 3 seasons of college baseball. But there are a couple of guys that old when they graduate high school and they are draft eligible after their sophomore year. But by and large, it's like 3 seasons before you're eligible. So the guy has to be like a junior or like a redshirt sophomore in order to be eligible.
So those decisions do get a little tricky because it's like if you have kind of a good amount of money coming out of high school, you either take that or you're essentially spending 3 seasons somewhere in college before you can play again. So that's where
exactly,
especially with
now with NIL, right? You could very easily make more money than you get offered in the draft if you play your cards right and if you're a marketable personality, right? And another thing to consider with the draft that a lot of people hear of is having leverage in the major league draft. So a big thing out there is they tell juniors that are eligible, if you get drafted, you have leverage now because you can negotiate for more money. Because if they don't give you what you want, you can go back to school and say, screw you, I'm out. I'm going back to Texas. If you wait until you're a senior, you no longer have leverage. You have to take what they give you and you don't really have a choice, right? So you're really kind of betting on yourself. And you're hoping that you're going to have a fantastic season to where you get drafted high enough and you're at a slot value where you're going to get X amount of money that ends up being life-changing, right? But just so many factors in playing out, Jordan. You look at a guy like Jello Flores, such a marketable kid with so many NIL opportunities, right? He can probably come back and make hundreds of thousands of dollars in another season at Texas, right? He's got co-op deals. He's got Bijan Mustardson commercials now. I mean, he's doing all these little things and it's starting to stack up. So, it's going to be a tough decision for him on what he decides to do. Does he want to come back to Texas and be the top dog on the baseball program, or does he want to be riding a bus?
That's what I was about.
Facilities and all that stuff. Exactly.
Same thing. You can get on a plane and fly to your weekend series that's out of town, or you can bus all over the country and stay in not the nicest, motels, hotels.
And be a king. And be a king Boston,
Yeah.
Or have to DoorDash on the weekends.
Yeah. I mean, literally, you're showing up like living your best life at Rancho and every downtown bar you want to hit up, with the cutest little Carly on your arm, So, I mean, there's lots of perks here in Austin. So it's interesting.
And what's wild is,
man, get a degree from college and live it up. It's good times.
It's crazy because I've heard from so many ex-players who are like, fringe guys, right? Not the superstar guys that went the first 5 rounds, but the guys that go in like the eighth round, ninth round, who ended up leaving early, they all come back to left field and talk about how they regret that decision and how it was such a terrible decision. 2.5 years later, they're not even playing baseball anymore. It's like they flame out of the minor leagues, that they were making $40,000 a year to play minor league baseball, and their signing bonus is gone.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, man, I should have come back to Austin, played another year. They're always like, those are the best years of my life. And, all of that's gone now. So it is a tough decision. And now with NIL, you do have opportunities to make that money up in other creative ways.
I just want to put it out there. I also do. This is the way that all sports should be, though. I think that either you're badass enough that you can go straight to the pros from high school, or I think you need to do at least 3 years in college. Personally, it's the way all sports should be. Football does it, but basketball is, so I think it should be across the board. It's the way it allows college sports to grow, for you to know people and know players and build relationships. And I just want to put that out there for whoever's listening.
Completely agree. I hate college basketball because of the one and done and all of that turnover that happens in college basketball.
It's ruined the sport. Get on my soapbox about that. All right, Mark. Here we go. So we've talked a lot about our coaching staff. Schloss, Wiener, Tulo. I don't know what's up. So do you really think that our coaching staff appears to be stable?
Yes. I've been hearing a lot of positive things about that. I'll be honest with you, like maybe a month or two ago, there were rumors out there of like, hey, there may be programs coming to poach some of the UT coaches, but none of that really has come to fruition, right? You haven't heard any real strong rumors of any of that. A lot of the big coaching positions have already been filled. Mississippi State was the big one where they were talking to a lot of different coaches. There was a lot of interest there. The UVA coach slid over and took that role. Y'all may not even be aware, the Duke coach lost last night and immediately took the Virginia job. So he ejected from Duke immediately. He's gone. He's filled in now for Coach O'Connor at UVA. And so now the Duke position is open. But there aren't a ton of other real big name programs with openings right now. And to be honest with you, I think in order to lose somebody like Nolan Cain on the Texas side, it would have to be a huge opportunity that would be too good to pass up. And, you've also heard some talk about those guys when they made the decision to come from A&M, right? They knew it wasn't a 1-year job. They committed to come together and to build something at Texas and to spend time here, setting the program up for success. So I'm glad to see that it looks positive that we'll get at least one more year of that staff working together as a complete staff. But then at the end of the day, right at the end of next season, if you lose one of those guys, you really hope it's because we were badass during the season and they are the hot name coaches that everybody wants. So that's just kind of the nature of the beast. If you get to Omaha, if you have success, there's always going to be the risk that you lose your coaches. But thankfully, I think we will have one more year of that stability with no changes going into 2026.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Because for half a second in the group message when Schloss's Twitter handle wasn't loading and there were rumors of him going to Virginia, I was like, no.
I wasn't worried about him leaving. And I'm not even sure if I think I was more like wondering about Max Wiener and Nolan Cain. Mm-hmm. And then I really love that Tulo's on our staff, but I want some little more work on the striking out and maybe learning how to lay down a bunt in a key situation. Okay.
I don't remember last time I saw a good bunt. Now that you mention it,
old school Augie ball. Yeah, at times.
We need to occasionally. Yeah, we need to move the runners around and let's pretend that we're not playing professional baseball and that we have 150 games to play. We only have 50 games to play, so we need to
lay down a bunt. I'm gonna run, move a guy over. Right, there we go.
Yeah, like
That is definitely a lost art. Bunting the baseball is a lost art.
well,
But
it's unfortunate.
it's one that I miss. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Will could do it bunt for a single. I was kind of like, why don't you bunt for a single instead of trying to swing for the fences? Okay. Got on base when you bunted for singles.
And he's not
Just saying. Well, Mark, is there anything else that we didn't cover? Anything you think Texas fans need to know about this upcoming baseball season, or anything we need to be on the lookout for in this off season?
I'm just curious. I have actually a couple of questions for y'all that I want to ask. That I want.
Oh, heck yeah.
Opinion on. So, at the end of each season, right? You always hear people talking about, what are the one or two things you've changed about Texas baseball or about the stadium or, just anything related to the program. What ideas do the three of y'all have about how to get more fans at Texas baseball games and to better the overall environment that we have at Dishwaller?
One thing, because we started off kind of this podcast journey right when the parking stuff was going on. So I will just throw it back out there again. Like, it's difficult to get to and it's not easy necessarily for students to get there either. So I don't know if that's, a better shuttle or some more student.
Open the garage again. Like
that too, yeah.
I did feel like though once they got that all those parking lots and that scan thing, and let's see, sometimes it was out of whack, but
they just didn't publicize that though, Case. I don't think they did a job of publicizing that you could park in all those UT parking lots and just use the QR code. I don't know. I'm going to put it out there, and I know it's maybe not the best for our left field situation that we do love, but after going to Mississippi State and seeing those damn lounges and all the cool stuff that happened there, I mean, I think we would happily pay for one of those things. And if it could be just at Mississippi State allows the folks to do it, which I don't know still. I mean, I experienced the loophole and I loved it. I don't know if that could fly in Texas or at Texas, but I mean, to scrape, in front of us, in front of the left field fence, y'all, there is this grassy berm that's too steep for anything. The Canon goes on it, but it really could be utilized in a much better way. And you could put in some left field boxes and you could put them over the Yeti yard and you could do a lot of cool stuff, but you have to, I mean, this is like big time thinking, but you have to let us live our Mississippi State life if you're going to build those boxes, because if you're not and you're going to make them like luxury suites, I'm going to be pissed off. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about left field lounges modeled after, what's that stadium called, babe? The Dude, what's it called?
Yeah, the Dudy Noble.
Yeah. So modeled after that with the loophole of bringing all your own stuff in 2 hours before the game. So I don't know. That would be amazing. And that would be the most fun thing in the entire world. And we would totally live our best lives out there.
You bring up one thing, though, that while you're saying that, the Yeti Yard, I think the Yeti Yard, especially when they shut it down to only students for big games, I feel like that's really successful. It's always good to have the students there heckling now. If there was a way to do that in right field also, because I know we have the bullpen that I don't know what's in that little chunk before you kind of get to center field. Like, if they could find another sponsor who's willing to do that side that you fill up with students, just because you're so close to the outfielders, like, they can hear you when they're heckling old boy about his girlfriend or his mom or something. Like, that they're bothering them. I've been out there. I've bothered people before. Like, that would be great.
I know I would say like oversell general admission. I don't know if they do that or not, but just straight up oversell general admission, because you have so many people that buy tickets that don't come. They buy season tickets and they just can't come, and they still don't go through that whole turning them back in, giving them back, whatever. And there's still plenty of room in there, and have people like be instructed. Like, if somebody's sitting in your seat, just be nice and ask them to move. You don't need to start a freaking, act like it's the, end of the world. It takes 1 second to just say, oh, this is my seat, and they'll get up and move and go find the next seat. And then it's, but that to me, there's like, you'll hear that it's sold out, and then all of a sudden there's still, you're like, well, no, it's not. I mean, it is sold out. The tickets are, but there's still plenty of room in there.
I like that idea, Case, and also make GA like super affordable. I mean, a couple of times I had friends that were like, oh, I'm going to bring my family. And they looked up, they're like, sheesh, like game tickets, are $80 a ticket. Well, you're not bringing a family of 4, out there for $80 a ticket. So I think that's a cool idea. I mean, maybe it's like that they're GA standing room only, but like, of course, if you see a seat, get a seat type of thing.
Yeah, if you sold a ticket as an SRO, then it's like, okay, I know going in, I have no idea where I'm going to sit, and I may not get to sit, but there's still room everywhere in there.
Yeah,
I mean, there's all
that yellow line all along
that line. Yeah,
a million
all that area people sit in. Some people just congregate back in there, in those kind of cove areas. And there's the Gus Pavilion area. So it's like there's plenty of room in there. So it's like, to me, just sell more tickets, make them available
at a cheaper rate too.
Right.
Make it attainable again. I think that was the cool thing forever. Was like you could always go to a baseball game, get in for, a very reasonable price. So I think those are some really cool ideas. You have an idea?
I like y'all's idea. I do think, Jordan, I like the idea of a right field Yeti.
I love the idea of a right field little box thing.
I think that's
then you're
great.
bothering everyone from everywhere.
Yeah. And then I don't know if it's truly like because they have to or if it's a choice that Texas makes. I just feel like they make it so hard to have fun inside the stadium. They don't allow you to stand anywhere, in the main concourse. You can't do any of that. I just feel like they try and regulate all of that too much. That it takes a little bit of the fun out of the atmosphere inside the stadium. So I just feel like they have to find ways to get more flexible and to allow people to congregate more inside so that they can watch games with the friends, right? And not just be stuck in the seats that they purchased. So.
Well, and if they had it, and I know that, at some games they have a lot more of the food trucks, but you still also have some of that space over there. If you built another one similar to that Gus Pavilion thing, because if you built it on the left field thing, it's a lot more visible. Because on the right field, the way it's tucked back there, it's not quite as visible for things. But if you built some little, it didn't even have to be as big, but it's like that's where they sell like the Tito's beverages and stuff. You can get all that over there. But I watched people go in there when we had those events. And there, you could see that was a routine for people to go in there. But if you had that on the left field side, those people could probably sit there, get a little lubed up, get rowdy, that kind of thing.
It kind of reminds me of, babe, where was it? Like the Oklahoma City Stadium? I mean, I never went there, but y'all would talk about like there was 2 decks of porches or whatever, like you could also put some decks on the right field side. You could add another layer onto that. And I think also make that more of like a standing room only ticket, make it people know you can go over here and hang out and you can watch the entire game. You can see it really well.
Because you can see that at Texas State when we watch those Tuesday night games and y'all are there. We're like, all of y'all are all over there.
Yeah, like make some of those patio type areas that people can hang out, hang out together. Yeah, I think that's huge.
I think too that leans though like to having the flexibility in like a big game, because you don't need to do that when Santa Barbara comes into town. But like if you have the ability to add maybe, scaffolding in the outfield for the OU series, for when A&M comes to town, that kind of thing, just having a little bit more of an idea of, okay, we have these big opponents coming into town. How can we get as many Texas fans? Where can we put as many Texas fans as possible? Because they'll come. I think Texas fans have shown, just from what I had heard from LSU, A&M, all that, like people can't get a ticket. People don't. That's why people end up hanging up with us in left field, because they couldn't get a ticket inside, but everyone wants to be there. So maybe being able even to just find some flexible, feasible ways for big series to make sure there's a spot for everybody to stand and watch the game. Because like softball started bringing in scaffolding even for their left field, I believe. I think it's permanent now, but even just for big series, it was 4 or 5 deep over there with everyone standing on their coolers or their step ladders trying to watch a game.
Yeah. And I think that's what fans want, right? I think fans want more of the opportunity to watch from outside, right? Where they can congregate, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last thing Dish Fog needs is more seats inside the stadium. That's not what they need. They need more party areas, more communal areas where groups can go and hang out together and not be worried about, I have 2 seats in this section and my buddy is in this section over here.
And they're telling you to move.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Spot on. Awesome.
What else you got for us?
That was really it. I just kind of wanted to hear y'all's thoughts on just the overall atmosphere and how to get people, more interested in games moving into next season. But I did want to also thank y'all for having me on. Y'all have a fantastic show, and y'all have been doing a great job with all of your episodes. So y'all keep it up, and it's been great to hear y'all week in and week out.
Thank you. It's been fun. It's like my nice way to catch up with everybody each week now. I was afraid when I moved, I wouldn't see anybody anymore. Now I get to see at least Kasey and Katie every week.
And I love it because y'all are smart enough to not do it on Monday night. That's what I hate about my podcast is I'm always hungover from the weekend. And I'm like, dude, I just want to go to bed. Like, I don't want to be on an 8:30 podcast on Monday night. I want to go to sleep at 5.
No.
Y'all are much smarter to do it later in the week. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, tell us a little bit about your podcast.
So we do it every Monday night, Horn Takes, and Sean, he runs the podcast. We have Zach Sim, who's on it as well. He writes for Orange Bloods. He's one of the most connected Texas baseball guys out there. He's got a weekly show with Coach Schloss every Monday morning that he throws out there. So it's just fun to get up there and chop it up about Texas baseball. I will say that this year we were really spoiled because we won almost every series. So it made it really easy to talk about Texas baseball. You kind of wonder what that podcast would be like during tougher seasons. And hopefully we won't have to experience that in the near future. But it was a good opportunity for us to get together and do that. I think moving into next year, we're going to try and get more creative, convince some of the players' parents, to come on with us as well to kind of spice it up a little bit. So looking forward to that. And hopefully we can have some of y'all on as well and kind of do some cross-pollination of these two shows. That'll be fun.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
One of these days we're going to get you and Logan on here to just argue for a little bit too.
I would love that. I can argue with Logan at any time. So
That's literally...
are in our group chat.
Let's just say, if one of us could tee you up on one thing and then not say another thing for 20 minutes, it would be so good.
Yeah. That, or maybe, babe, it could also be like you and LSU Nick.
Yes.
Unless
I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that though during baseball. Now we'll have to wait.
No. I mean,
I can bring him on. I can bring him on at the beginning of college football, and we'll just let him spit out stats.
He can also be our fantasy nerd, Case.
That's for sure.
there you go. Or you can just have like Logan and Nick and do like a trivia contest related
Oh God.
to their sports teams. Yeah, that would be interesting for sure.
Oh,
That's contest.
Oh gosh.
All right. Well, I'm excited to say though, after the College World Series or maybe during it, we might be super excited to say that our next guest might be Coach Ty Harrington. Which is Shelly and Jody are doing like a personal interview with Ty and talking about just his personal life. And then we're going to get him for sports, and he can have lots of cool insight around the College World Series and what's happening as a player and as a coach. And then now just like also a great baseball fan and expert. So we're excited about that. So tune in for that. Babe, thanks. You were super fun to have on today. I know Jordan has some good stuff to share about our sponsors.
Oh, yes. Well, just thanks again, Mark. It's so good to, just see your face, but also you're so informative, so dialed in. I think this is really good info for all of our fans who are especially needing something now that we don't have our team to watch. So thank you again. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a really good time. Thank you.
Awesome. And just a heads up, you can go see our girl Andrea Petition at Attract Aesthetics. She is actually also the guest for the Adjacent podcast this week. So go back to Adjacent, listen to that. Andrea is awesome, cool person, but also has great skincare tips, which I think we all need. I know I will always take a skincare tip. But if you mention Ladies of Left Field when you go to Attract Aesthetics, you can get 10% off your first service. And I always like to remind everyone, if you have questions, comments, concerns, I may not listen to your negative comments, but that's fine. You can send them anyway. You can email us at ladiesofleftfield@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram. Maybe for this episode, we'll go back and find some of our greatest vintage Marc Pena baseball photos. Katie, that's your task. Or Mark, if you have some, send it to us.
I got them. I got it. My signature line and like my school sign off is like questions, concerns, and compliments. We're here for the compliments, so don't forget about those.
Very good.
I love that. I would take a compliment too.
Yes.
But all right, y'all. We will see y'all in left field.
See y'all in left field.
See you in left field.